What endures beyond the eyes of man? Catalyzed by many transitions, we find ourselves in our greatest dawn. And what that means is, as you go through your many changes, your awareness is dawning, it's brightening up. The more you're living, the more experience of living is being had, the more parties you're going to, even though you might be very unconsciously moving on the dance floor and having no idea what's happening, but a part of you knows that an experience is being gained, reality is being had. Any dance of life is precious in the intelligence that it gives to the feet that is walking. Now, we must trust life, and what that means is the moment has linear qualities and non-linear qualities, and if you only choose to linearize it, the non-linearity will not speak to you, or you will realize or feel as if it is speaking to you, but you're not hearing it. Some men have said nature is not mute, it's just man who doesn't know how to listen, and it's very true, because how you listen to it is not as an individual. You listen to it through presence, and the nature of all being has a grace to it untouchable by any idea. And the minute this occurred, it's as if all the books on my bookshelf were empty, but what was full was the experience of the writer. And we find, just like the hieroglyphics in Egypt, the letters written by these poets to be symbols of their greatest experiences found on the page. You do not understand writing when one embraces the intuitive flow of life, all the flows that are present, not individualized, segmented, but it's as if life is breathing now and this breath could not go anywhere else. The gift is in the awareness that is aware of life, is aware that it's alive. See, conscious living should not be something on your to-do list. Conscious living should be an incorporation of an attitude, of a recognition of a need for a mindfulness to, in a sense, not bang the door very loud, but to do it gently, to make things gentler, to become aware of the subtlety of how you use your mind. And what that means is, when I was younger, I just wanted to be a football player, But when I grew older, and it was crazy because I really loved football, And this is, of course, soccer to the eagle's eye, but I wanted that kind of lifestyle, but life had bigger plans, and I felt it because I realized it. The way I got pulled out of it, it was as if a divine will was guiding me out of that field. And so, as I took my last steps, I realized that it wasn't about me being a footballer. It was that the ability and the capacity of the life that I am has such potential to utilize its mind. And many footballers should begin actually receiving and seeking the greatest wisdom known to man, in the sense that their natural action can also emanate the wisdom. And of course, on some level, speaking about the stuff is like searching a Google images of skydiving rather than you actually going and skydiving. I mean, definitely your experience is something to cherish and honor, for it is that which has brought you here. For generosity will lend you teachings that will satisfy the temporal, for they are a bit above the state of consciousness of a temporal reality, but you must challenge ideology in your own way. And that means that not just in your own unique method of self-inquiry, that means you go in nature, sit down in stillness and silence and just be aware of who you are, but also how it is present in how you're leading, and you must confront not just the body, your physical body, but the bodies of thought that are around you and you're aware of. Because man's mind must advance to a capability where it is not hindered by the body not being certain that it has a mind. The body's certainty must come through a transcendental knowing that does not create a platform of an individual consciousness developing, but is always seeing infinite projections of the individuality. What that means is mankind is taking that next leap of, in a sense, mini leap of transcendence, in the sense that his consciousness can take this individuality and observe all the memories of your birthdays at once. And so you see all your birthdays are still present with you, and it's really based on your awareness to the forms that you carry. And these forms, the reason you've been carrying them, you've been basing this individuality on the things you've gone through. And so this past has given you a sense of needing to have to survive in a future. But in a sense, there is an intelligence beyond the fact of needing a segmentation of space and time. Because if you were to directly experience the space and time, you would forget about every a suggestion or definition you've read in a book, and you just observe and you see, gosh, some moments my experience is timeless, spaceless. Some moments there's a huge sense of time because I'm late for work and I gotta catch the bus, you know, it's we must embrace the grace of the mindful Zen monk, but also walk in the eyes of individuality, of an individuality that is restructuralizing culture by its mere presence in the system. What that means is, even though you might pass away, don't worry. You have lived a life of experience and you moved some things. And regardless of your deeds of right and wrong, nature has walked through your eyes. But you must see that in your vision, there's always an ability to know the knower. And this means it's that profound moment where it is an understanding that is unspeakable, but it is an existential observance of the nature of how infinity was right outside when there was no longer an outside. And perhaps the elegance of the hollowness of an object in front of two mirrors can suggest that man can even move beyond infinite realities, realities where there are infinite projections. You must have a very integrative approach, and you must be graceful, and you must trust life. And in that trust, a love will bloom with a transcendental hue. We are graceful beings and we know what we're doing, and we are intelligent enough to be aware of an efficiency that is seeds of great trees of ideology for the children of our children's children and their children too. For there are some moments where I have written words and I've, within the omniscience of my own experience, just seen all those who will read it before ever having to write the quote. And so there are moments where a man may feel the children of the future. A man will feel that the future of the species is its children, and that includes all the presence of the children and human beings who are being a phenomena, having a sense of expression here. For the source of life was always itself. We are a conscious realization of a biological being, which, based on our way of acknowledging ourselves in the mirror, have called the human species. But as the human species has been working on the worlds within its world it has created, as conception is playing with itself. Freedom was never somewhere to walk to, but an awareness to what you always are. A free being, unhindered by space and time in an instant of time. Your grace is beyond words. For I'm sure names will always be inspired by the nameless. Walk towards your greatest experiential entrance, and do not worry about the exit, for if the exit comes, that too is the blessing of a new entrance. I would like to share some mantras, and some mantras for the pilots of consciousness. And of course, as sound is just sound, our ears were always listening before interpretation. For the pilot's calling. Much blessings and namaste.